Well, it is additional thoughts time for the album Love for Rent by Smino. Before I get into all of the things, I have to give some disclosure because on Monday I had a fun little interaction on Twitter. Somebody had posted the clip of the end of my reaction where I was essentially saying this is one of the best albums I've ever heard. And they tweeted that to Smino, and Smino saw it and actually replied and said, I think this blunt's for Bob or something like that. Like, it was cool. Spino saw it. I think he saw some other stuff because apparently he was posting little tiny clips. I think one or two on Instagram. And it's neat. You know, Twitter, in my opinion, has always been garbage. Elon Musk has now turned it into burning garbage, which is pretty impressive watching that whole thing unfold. But the fun thing about Twitter has always been these chance interactions that you can have with people who you obviously would probably never get a chance to interact with. And so that was fun. But I just wanted to mention that. Smino, if you see this, that's cool. Thanks for the cool little shout out, man. That was neat. I was smiling pretty big on Monday. All that to say, because I don't want people to think I'm like fanboying out over that, even though I kind of was. But the album, I was fanboying over before that. And here is where I'm going to cause controversy. I'm going to stir the pot in the hip hop community because I'm going to bring up my favorite little thing, right? There's something that's your favorite and something that you think is the best. And I think those two categories are widely different from each other. The example I love to give for people who don't like hearing this argument is probably my favorite movie is the original Ghostbusters movie, but I would never argue that that is the best movie, if that makes sense. Works with food, works with sports teams that you cheer for, all these other things, right? There's a difference between your favorite and your best, or what you think is the best. Love for Rent is, as of now, my favorite hip-hop album. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All the people who are saying Young Boy better, which I also enjoy saying from time to time. Yes, it is. Everybody who says To Pimp a Butterfly is the best hip-hop album ever made, I don't disagree with that. Yes, it is. Myself, who says JPEG Mafia LP album, is offline version, is my favorite album. It was. Now, Love for Rent is my favorite. So, why? Right? That's going to be the real meat and potatoes. Not so much that it is, but why? I sat down with Mad Villainy, listened to it over the weekend. I listened to LP over the weekend. I listened to a little bit of Food over the weekend. And these are some albums that are some of my favorites. You know, I did not listen to 36 Chambers, but 36 Chambers is amazing. This album, for me, I enjoy it the most because it has captured all of the elements of hip-hop that I have come to learn, appreciate, and enjoy perfectly in one album. For me. So what does that mean? I love Smino's flow. I love how sometimes he's kind of singing a little bit. Sometimes he's rapping quickly. Sometimes he's slowing down. Sometimes he's inflecting his voice a little. There's so much variety that happens with Smino and his vocal presence. I love how his vocal presence folds into the tempo of the production. I love how the production gives you some upbeat, kind of conventional sounds. I love that it kind of wanders off and gets into the experimental side, but not so far that it becomes a little weird. I mean, a little touch of the oddities, right? But not like bizarre, you know? I love that there's kind of a theme, this concept of love for rent. And the theme is sprinkled into the album enough that you can try and dig into that and solve some puzzle pieces possibly with it. Or if you don't want to pay any attention to it, you don't have to, and it doesn't detract from the album experience. So the theme is not like a core part of the album experience. At least doesn't have to be. The runtime is great. The ebb and flow of the energy is great. It's amazing. It's amazing. And for me, I think about, what's that meme? It's like that British car show where it's the two guys talking about cars, and the meme is, you know, the old guys going, this is brilliant, but I love this. And that's just me with Love for Rent. I love this album. I think, and it's tough because all the people who would love to argue what's better than this, there's 10 different ways you could argue that. I don't know if I would ever argue this is better than, there's probably a dozen albums that I would argue are better in certain areas than this. But, you know, sometimes it's this perfect culmination. I feel like for me, this is one of those experiences where the sum is greater than all of the parts that make it up. It is absolutely a 10 for me. And my criteria for a 10, no skips. I can listen to it at any time and I don't turn it off until it's done. And this album, even with the intro, like if I was going to make any criticism of the album, I would say, well, maybe the back half of Curtains runs a little too long. It's kind of like washes out, but it's also concluding by looping back to the beginning, and the beginning little 2-minute bit is kind of cool. And so there's singles on here if you want some singles. There's some, you know, up-tempo, happy energy songs if you want that. There's some slower, chilled out, kind of odd songs. It just has everything. It's got funny lines. It's got serious lines. It's got great rapping. It's got some cool singing. It's got good supporting vocals. I mean, it's just great. It's great. It is, and it is. I remember when I was listening to LP, I love LP. And one of the issues I have with LP, the offline version, I still have not listened to the online version. I still have not heard the song Bald, if you can believe that or not. The first 3 tracks, I like the first 3 tracks, but especially that third one, it almost sounds like ending credits type. It just gives me this ending credits type of feel. And so for me, like LP for a long time, I would listen to it from Rebound on. I would start the second half and just second half to the end. And I feel like the second half was like the best batch of music I've ever heard, honestly, in terms of just album run. And so I was thinking, do I really enjoy Love for Rent more than LP? Well, I guess so, in terms of my own criticisms towards it. And like Mad Villainy, that's another one that I think is just fucking amazing, right? Sometimes I get a little tired of all the samples. I know that's probably fucking like heresy, right? You know, let's tie you up to a pole, Bob, and set you on fire because you're speaking witchcraft right now. But sometimes I'm just not quite into that. You know, this one has a couple skits, but there's not a lot. I like that some of them, you know, it's just his family calling and leaving a message. It's just, I fucking love it. There you go. There you go. I give him my reasons. You can agree or disagree. Love for Rent, as of right now, today, 2 years into my journey of hip-hop music and exploring all of these albums, this is my favorite album. There you go. There you go. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say, man. And I guess that's it. 90 Proof is so cool with J. Cole. I love how he kind of like drops into the singing, rapping on the back half of his verse there. Settle Down. I mean, I love it. I love it. I can put it on, and every time I put it on, I'm like, yep, this is what I want to hear. Unless I want to hear metal. Then I go, well, this isn't metal, and I change it. But I don't change it, because once I put it on, I listen to it all the way through. And that in itself is its own little conundrum, right? Like, some of my favorite albums, like Alice in Chains, Jarflies, or Animals by Pink Floyd, those albums are literally like favorite albums. And there are times when I will not listen to them because I know, I don't have enough time to finish it. I've only got 25 minutes. It's a short little drive. Nope, don't put that on. I won't be able to finish the album. Don't put it on. I will literally not listen to some of my favorite music if I can't listen to it all the way through. That's totally normal, by the way. I'm not weird at all. Well, there you go. There you go. Friday, all of us kids, we're all going to get in the van. We're going to drive to Utopia on Friday. Apparently that's happening. We'll see how that goes. I'm kind of curious how Travis Scott is going to come out after everything that's happened to him in the last couple of years. And it's been a while since Astroworld, the album, was released. It's been a little while since Astroworld, the event, was released. Kind of a poor joke there, bad taste, but there you go. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, y'all. Take care.